influencing people. Nothing is so unbelievable that oratory cannot make it acceptable. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Great speeches have influenced people, swayed the outcome of historical events, motivated people to wage wars, urged people to fight injustice and to even lay down their lives. Words, in other words, can comfort people during a tragedy, can move soldiers and partisans to risk life and limb, raise levels of patriotism, and even change the course of history. Oratory thus is the art of influencing people, and those who master this skill command an almost godlike power. The power of the spoken word was realized centuries ago. Great wordsmiths like Pericles, who lived nearly 2,500 years ago, beautifully demonstrated the power of eloquence. Pericles himself was acknowledged as the most prominent Greek statesman of his time. Today called the Golden Age of Greece. Yet another great orator who came after him was Demosthenes, remembered as the greatest orator of all time. Mastering the art of oratory was considered essential in ancient Greece for those who wished to become well-rounded individuals. Oratory became central to public life because it was the essential tool for politicians to navigate through democratic government. It was essential to argue a case in a court of law. Debates and discussions, therefore, were a hallmark of this golden age of eloquence. During the same era, Roman philosophers and orators like Marcus Tullius Cicero made their mark on commoners and emperors alike. Subsequently, emperors, noblemen, and advisors kept this art alive and used it to their advantage throughout history. Examining the last 100 years of contemporary history closely, marked as the period was by 2 world wars, one still finds oratory at the helm of affairs. If great events create great leaders, then great events also throw up powerful speakers. Winston Churchill, Franklin D. Roosevelt, or Charles de Gaulle came on the scene as great orators because of the events that caused the Second World War, or because of the events triggered by the First World War. In the second half of the 20th century, the world saw people like John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, Fidel Castro, Martin Luther King, and Nelson Mandela as great influencers of their times. Public speaking versus oratory. In making a speech, one must study 3 points. First, the means of producing persuasion. Second, the style or language. Third, the proper arrangements of the various parts of the speech. Aristotle. Webster's dictionary defines oratory as the art of speaking elegantly and effectively that is characterized by use of appeals, chiefly to emotions. In contrast, the definition of public speaking does not include a reference to elegant emotional appeals. And that, in fact, is the basic difference. While public speaking focuses on just conveying your point clearly and concisely, oratory is more persuasive and is crafted to influence the audience. It is argumentative and addresses the emotional aspect of the context. It reaches more to the heart than the head. Therefore, all oratory is public speaking, but all public speaking is not oratory. Technically speaking, there are 2 types of speakers: those who use reasoning and those who speak from the heart. They also reach out to 2 different types of audiences: those who understand through reasoned logic and those who understand and accept through the heart. Those who speak from the heart speak to people. Those who speak with reason speak in boardrooms, conferences, and parliaments. Reasoning requires rationale, statistics, facts and figures to present cold logic. A person who reasons draws conclusions that cannot be easily refuted or challenged. Such discourses are academic in nature. Those who speak from their heart may also use reasoning, but only to augment their power of influence. Great orators mix the two genres very skillfully. That is how they move on to become orators from being mere public speakers. They are master craftspersons of logic and rhetoric. Such great masters combine clear speech with simple arguments, using their instincts to say the right things at the right place, to the right people, and the right number of times. Their ideas blend perfectly with their words and emotions. Such men and women understand the hidden aspirations of their audiences. Their discourses are masterpieces. In a way, such orators are like chameleons. They know when and how to speak from the heart and cleverly shift back to precise logic when needed. Remember, great speakers who connect with their audience are not only reporters or messengers, but interpreters and analysts who can make people see things in the larger context. They achieve this by reaching out to both the heads and the hearts of their audience. Oratory encompasses all other disciplines and therefore qualifies as the highest art. It is a clever amalgam of literature, knowledge, content, prose, drama, stagecraft, and even rhythm. If public speaking is a story, then oratory is the story rolled out as a screenplay. Sound, camera, action. It appeals to the deeper sentiments, stirs passion, and arouses the audience to act according to the narrative. Oratory can be best employed during a crisis, during times of low public morale, or even during a struggle. It can be used effectively to influence business deals, seal treaties between nations, or influence masses to act. Leaders, managers, and orators. The art of persuasion and the ability to influence and convince others is most important for success. These skills are extremely important at higher levels of leadership. For instance, an engineer remains an engineer for the first few years of his career and quickly and automatically transcends into a managerial role because he then has to manage projects, people, timelines, finance, and resources. He becomes a leader who has to be heard at meetings, has to convince the bosses, buy in the clients, and motivate the team. To convince others